Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode number 301. My name is Brando. It's an Atlantic City review. Might be part one. We'll see if it's part two. We actually might get another fan mid-interview if he responds on Twitter who volunteered to talk about night two. We'll see what it's like. But what I do know right now, I'm joined by John. What's going on, John, who's on a couch in Levittown?
Yeah. What's up, Brando?
I like your usual Legion shirt. Thank you. Where'd you get that shirt? Is that from Hot Topic or is that from a show?
No, I bought this from eBay about a month ago.
Nice.
Very good price. Official, too.
I think, honestly, my first GNR shirt purchases were off eBay. So they were like vintage because I was too young to get them. So right on. And then we got Joe Feeney, the third. Do we say the third?
We can say the third. It's all good.
Am I giving out too much information about you?
No, as long as we don't start. Don't ask me my social security number.
Okay. and Joe, if you're watching on Zoom on our YouTube channel, he looks like he's gonna be playing, the U.S. Tournament of Poker on ESPN. And I gotta ask, because you sound better than me right now. You sound like you have a podcast set up. I think you do.
Yeah, I work on a lot of shows. If anyone's a pro wrestling fan, I work on a show with WCW guys from back in the day, Conan and Disco Inferno. I work on Raven's show. He was an ECW guy. And I have a network of shows. There's a few wrestlers on there. There's a comedy show, sports shows, things like that. So, yeah, I've been I kind of fell backwards into it, but it was a hobby that turned into a job about 7 years now.
Wow, good for you, man.
Yeah.
We got to talk. I appreciate both of you and all the listeners who have reached out for these review shows. It's just, I say it all the time, but it's been a pleasant surprise. I wish I did it earlier. We'll do more of, past, whether it's just the actual current tour, future tours, or just old shows to talk about, old, Aussie shows, old UK shows, just to get fans more and more involved. But Joe, you've been also just been a fan for a while, recognize your name from social media, and I know you've been wanting to be on for a while, so I'm glad it finally worked out. So,
yeah,
I think this was like the thing I said the last review, like an old listener, Joe Feeney, and then we got, I don't know when you found me, John, but I don't know how.
I found it a while ago.
Okay.
But, Facebook, but I got going with all your last reviews, the fan reviews. So I decided to get in touch with you.
Cool. Thank you. And I encourage, especially and I'm proud of my female fan base. It's not all dudes, just so you know, that listen to the Appetite for Distortion program. It happens. So anyone who wants to be on the show, who wants to talk about Guns N' Roses can. So we're going to talk about night one. Night two, we're only going to talk about and respect, and we'll leave this as a big fat teaser, which you probably already know if you're a Guns N' Roses fan by the time I put this podcast out, that when they played Don't Cry the second night, Axl spoke about Izzy. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how Hard Skool is in the mainstream news now. Right before I started this podcast, guys, I saw it. Blabbermouth made an article about it. I don't know if you saw this, so we're going to talk about that. So we'll do kind of like a shotgun news thing. I don't have the soundbite queued up, but we'll do that. So I know you guys didn't go together. And before, I'll just get my bullshit out of the way because I want to hear more about what you guys have to say. The only reason I didn't go was just because that would have been my third and or fourth shows, and in a 5,000 seat venue, just too expensive for me. I work in radio, but I'm not Howard Stern. I just don't have that kind of money. I just don't. But what I did do is I got tickets to go to Baltimore, and just for like 100 something, as opposed to the 200 or 300 I would have had to pay for Atlantic City. So we'll talk about Baltimore another time. So let's start with you, John, because I think you were the first one to reach out about this specific episode.
Okay.
Where were your seats? Like, did you get tickets? Like, when did you get these tickets? How long ago?
I got these tickets about a couple of weeks after MetLife Stadium.
So you went to MetLife just like I did.
MetLife August 5th, and I think a week and a half later I got these tickets. I wasn't going to go because of the prices, but like I said, it's like they always lure you in, Guns N' Roses, so I thought I have to go to this. It's close enough. So I got the tickets. I paid a good price. You know, my seats were in the 200s off to the side. I was on like basically Duff's side.
Okay.
You know, but they kept switching all night, so it was pretty good. Even Slash came to my side a lot. It's the most time I've seen them switch in a long time.
Hmm.
You know.
You know what's funny that you're like other fans who brought this up. Something I never thought about was the sides that they're on. What side of the stage are you looking for? Because yeah, they do switch, but you're right. Slash is usually mainly on one side. Duff is usually in the other, and it's just something I never didn't occur to me until started doing these review episodes. Did you go with anyone? Because that's
Yes.
always a problem. I know for me until I found my fiance who's willing to go with me all the time. So who did you go with?
I went with my girlfriend.
That's a good
So,
girlfriend. Is she as big of a fan as you are?
No, she's like more into Bret Michaels, but she likes Guns N' Roses too. But I'm a mega fan, and we stayed over the night. I mean, we got there about 2:30 in the afternoon. Then we just hung out on the boardwalk. We drank a little in the hotel, and you know, she got some shirts on the boardwalk, and we had dinner at the Hard Rock Cafe, and we stayed at the next hotel over, the Showboat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want to stay at the Hard Rock because they charged $200 more for the night.
Okay.
So
okay.
It was
all right.
It was a nice day to talk. You know, go to the boardwalk. It was a beautiful day, so it was fun.
No, it seemed like you took advantage of it. You really did, and that's why you.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go to a show like that, it's not just go to the show itself. That's more than obvious. But to enjoy the full day of it and the shore and everything that you took advantage, you get it. You know, you're a New Yorker. You know. So Joe, where were your? Had you been to any shows previous on this leg? Like John said, he was at MetLife. Was this your first one, or you were at one before?
Yeah, I was at Hershey. I went to the tour opener, which, if you know, everyone listening's a hardcore fan, I'm sure sometimes the tour opener isn't as strong as you might like it to be. So
yeah, we spoke about. I was there.
Yeah, that was that I don't want to come on and badmouth. That just wasn't one of the better shows that I've been to. You know, it was still great to be there. The crowd energy, everything was great. But I knew they were working out some kinks. But I had tickets to AC. I bought them around the same time I bought the Hershey tickets, and I went kind of because of the reason you said. You know, the smaller venue. I saw them at the was it the House of Blues years ago in AC 2012? I think it was the House of Blues. Yeah. So being in smaller venues with that band, I mean, I know how great it was going to be, and we were in general admission. We walked in kind of early. So we were on the rail in general admission. We were there for about a half hour before Wolfgang Van Halen started. So,
okay, very cool. And yeah, we did a review on that Hershey. That's where it kicked off. Obviously, the first show and technical issues, but I mean, wow! Just when you see Axel's attitude from that one and the frustration that was happening, but he fought through everything and how that's just continuously progressed. I think every single show.
Yeah.
I think it's been something interesting to see and hear from doing these review shows, to hear the progression from that Hershey Park first show. So John, you were there all day. Joe, you were there early enough to see Wolfgang, right? So actually, you know, before you even get to the show itself, Joe, you were obviously not deterred from seeing them, even though that first show was not your favorite.
No, I wasn't. And like I said, being in that GNR fan circle, you know, I kind of had misgivings before Hershey. I was like, oh, either they're going to be really sharp and prepared, or it's going to be that they're working into the groove kind of thing. And that's just the way it went. You know, it was still a Guns N' Roses show, and I like I said, some people don't like stadium shows. I like Hershey, so I was glad I was there in 2017 as well. So I was glad to return there and see them again. It didn't deter me, but I got it before we went. I was a little shaky, you know, like, oh man, I hope they got it going now, you know, and it was like a complete 180 from Hershey. It really was from the start. I was like, man, this is unbelievable. Like how different he sounded and how different the band, how tight the band was, you know, it was great stuff.
And John, what was the main factor for you going? Because this is the first time, and what's exciting, first of all, I've never been to 3 shows on a tour, but I had never been to 2. And I found myself, I could have said, okay, I saw them once, MetLife Stadium. Why do I need to see again? Especially, I mean, yeah, they debuted Hard Skool, so there aren't the same kind of that old tired, what I believe is an old tired argument now. But the set list, I think they do enough with it that is different currently. But a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I saw them once, I don't need to see them again. What made you want to see them again?
One second though. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't
Yeah.
want you'll find yourself on Blabbermouth next. You said they debuted Hard Skool and you meant Absurd, so it's
okay. I said
I know when people they played Hard Skool. What you know? So
thank you for correcting me. That's I think I need to hire you. I need to be like Raven. I need to hire you as a producer. That's what I need to have happen. No, yeah, when they obviously debuted Absurd, so there were things to look forward to. Okay, what else are they gonna do? But I didn't know that, obviously. So John, what was the motivating factor to see them in Atlantic City? Again, to see them again, you know?
Not to say I was disappointed in MetLife, but it wasn't what I expected. They were good, but I think it was more of a celebration. MetLife was like parking lot, everything partying, and you know, the sound outside was in MetLife. I didn't like the sound. I mean, and I wanted to see. I knew Atlantic City would be better inside 5,000, 6,000 people indoors. I knew it would be better, and it was much better.
Seems like you both were right, and that makes absolute sense. So, what did you guys think of Wolfgang? I'm glad he's back, on the road. No more issues. I think he's just awesome, and I hope to get him on the podcast one day. So I'm just want to keep talking about him as he continues to do his thing. So, what do you guys think of Wolfgang and Mammoth?
Well, they opened in Hershey as well. It was my first experience with them. I know it was their first live show anyway, right? So I don't know. Like, I don't have the record. I don't know that much about him and the band. But both times I saw them, they were very, very, very good. And a couple of songs did stick in my head, which I then downloaded. And obviously, he's uber talented. I like his voice. I know there was one song towards the end where he was playing the guitar and the keyboard, which was fantastic. Great opener. I said to my wife while we were there, I said, I've seen worse. And that's I'm not trying to diss him. He was very good, but some of the openers I've seen have been like, ugh. But, he was great, man. He really was. Set the tempo.
Were there a lot of people? What was the crowd like? Were they, because I think that was something we also learned early on from Hershey, that they're going to get on early. Mammoth is going to be there. I understand there's that opening band thing where not everybody's in their seats yet, but that's been happening with Guns N' Roses because they're not the late GNR anymore. Mm-hmm. So were there a lot of people already in the arena there? Like, how full was the venue at that time when Wolfgang was playing?
There were a lot of people in the arena for him.
That's good.
He rocked out, I think. I don't really know his songs, but he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple songs, like Feeney said, it stuck in your head. So he was really good. And he's very respectful. He was saying, "You ready for Guns N' Roses?" And, he gets the crowd going, He's good opener.
He is. What are your, so I don't want to lose it, what are your favorite openers you guys have seen for Guns N' Roses in the past?
Man, I don't think Sebastian Bach, and Papa Roach was good. I think they opened for them at Madison Square Garden. So I saw them in Madison Square Garden in 2006. So Papa Roach, everybody else kind of, I didn't really, I can't even think of names. It's not like I'm trying to not talk about them. There hasn't been anybody that stuck out, but Bach was great when they used him, and Papa Roach was a cool little late 90s, flashback for me. So that's about it.
Okay. All right. What about you, John?
Mine was Skid Row, 1991.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't see him. And it made me go see Skid Row in 92 with Pantera at the Paramount at the Garden. So
you saw legendary shows, man.
Yeah.
So you saw GNR at the Coliseum?
Yeah, and the Garden in December of 91 also.
Mm.
So, we may have to talk about those later. What memories you got of those? Yeah, very cool.
Good stuff.
So Feeney, the interesting thing is those who go on the floor, was anybody moving? Once Mammoth was over, was obviously you get there early to be close. It's not like John, you had an assigned seat. You know, that's your seat. That's where you're going to be. You can get up, go to the bathroom. You're going to lose your spot, Feeney. I got to call you Feeney since it just says that on the Zoom thing.
Yeah. I actually got there a little earlier than we even intended because I thought Wolfgang started at 7 or 7:15. I think it was 7:30 or something like that. So we were even earlier than I would have intended. But yeah, we got on the rail there. We were on Duff's side, when Fortis was over there, and we stayed. We didn't want to lose our spot, so we stayed there for at least half the concert. Then it was like we both had to go to the bathrooms. Okay, we've been up. That's cool. Let's see what we can get when we come back. And when we came back, we kind of wandered. We were still in GA, and sometimes we were towards the back at Duff's side. I think I ended the show over on Slash's side, towards the back. We were just relaxing. I think we were like leaning up against the pole back there or whatever because we'd been standing the whole time, yeah, getting there and having that spot was great. And unfortunately, once you leave. That's tough luck for you. So I knew coming back we weren't going to get back where we were, but the time that we were at the rail was excellent.
Okay, all right. So were you both?
I'm sorry.
You were behind the rail?
Yeah, just not in the VIP, just in the GA right there on the rail. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay, right on. So I want to know, because I feel like I say this every review episode because I can't get the image out of my head from Hershey Park when It's So Easy started, and it's daylight and there's fans just looking around like all confused, thinking like, is this another opening act? Like, what's happening? And just one dude walking across with his cell phone held up. So I guess he can just watch It's So Easy later as he's supposed to go to his seat. So I'm assuming both were ready to go once they were ready to go.
Yeah. Mammoth went on at 8 o'clock.
Was it 8? Okay.
8 o'clock, and 8:30 he was done. At 9 o'clock, Guns N' Roses came on. It was crazy. I saw people, getting beers after Mammoth, leaving, and then came back fast because they knew Guns N' Roses coming on at 9 o'clock. So, did you do that, Beanie?
Yeah, I knew it was only going to be about 20-30 minutes between, and I went to one show in 2016 and a couple in 2017, so I'm now used to the practically on time GNR. Like when I went to a lot of shows in the early 2010, 2011, 2012, stuff like that, and they were still coming out whenever they felt like it. I remember a previous Atlantic City show at the House of Blues, like I mentioned in 2012, they started like at midnight and played till like 3:30. It was awesome. But I do kind of like the timeliness now. But yeah, my wife held a spot at the rail in between. I was like, all right, I'm gonna run. I'll get right back. I'm not gonna miss the beginning. So I went out and got us some drinks. There was, you're at a rock show, you expect overpriced stuff. We bought these specialty mixed drinks. They were $24 each, and then it was like, but if you bring it for a refill, it's only $16. I was like, all right, that's a plus, I guess. So yeah, we were secure in our spot. We pretty much knew when they were coming out, and I was back for It's So Easy and everything. And of course, the cartoon thing before, I got to see it all, so I didn't miss anything.
What I missed, and I want to ask about, I believe, John, you showed me a picture of. You got the lithograph, which was pretty cool.
I didn't get it. I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, I thought that was yours. Okay, I'm sorry.
I know you always talk about that in your podcast, so I'm like, I gotta show this to them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the shark looks like Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. So did either of you want it? Are you lithograph?
They sold shirts of that.
Yeah.
They sold shirts of those. So I didn't get it, but I buy my stuff online. I don't buy it at the show.
No. Okay. Yeah. Is Feeney the same way?
Yeah, I got this in Hershey, so that one with the tour shirt. Usually, yeah, usually I'm like John. If I see a tour shirt I really like, I'll keep an eye out for it on Amazon or something like that later. Like I did that with a couple of 2011 shirts that I liked. But I did buy this in Hershey and AC. I didn't get any merch. I didn't get the lithograph. I kind of feel like I was late in the game on that. Like, man, I wish I started collecting them before, and I didn't. So now I don't. It's not something I pay too much attention to, but I do like seeing people's pictures of them on the various groups or on your group or anything like that. So they're always cool. I never got into it.
And
Just curious. Everyone has their what? You say that again? They're numbered. Yeah.
Okay.
They're different. They're not always the same number. They can be a 250. They could be 300, something like that. I don't want to knock over well, maybe I could see it. The Fargo one that Eric P was so kind to give me. This is at a 250. And I would look, I have a couple other ones, but the picture frame is blocking the number. But I got them, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have 3. It makes me sound like a collector. I think they just kind of happened in a way. But so, and also just the merch adventure is always interesting because of just what they sell and what they do. I think that, they have cool shirts. They have cool things going on. So no merch for you guys this time around.
But I know. Go ahead, John.
One more time, bud.
I said the prices weren't too bad.
Yeah.
$35-$40, which is not really bad.
Yeah. I paid 50 in Hershey for the shirt. So, but I know you'll agree, John, that those merch lines were unbelievable. Though they must have sold so many shirts, like before the show, and even during and in between Mammoth and GNR. The lines were huge, huge.
Yeah, we were on the merch line. We went. My girlfriend got a shirt on the boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
That was like 4 hours before the show, so there was no line. So we were happy about that because we saw inside the lines were crazy.
Were those the bootleggers that okay, the GNR is trying to shut down? I wouldn't judge you. I'm just curious if they're still out there.
But after the show, there were bootleggers on the boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, GNR police got to get after that. I don't know. I always feel like they come after the show. They just come up to you and like I just like no. If I want them, I'll go to you. I'll go to you. Not especially in this day in this day and age where you never know who's coming up to you. And it's just like too many crazies. All right, so no merch. What I would like to know is, you said there's a lot of people at the merch line. What were the kind of people that filled up Atlantic City? An expensive show, small arena. What was the fan vibe like? What kind of personnel was there? Do you see, was Paulie D there? Did you see any celebrities? I guess not.
I didn't see any celebrities, but the crowd was I noticed in Hershey too. It's a nice mix because I'm going to be 40, right? And then you'll see people in my age group, but you'll see people older than me as well that may have been able to see Guns back in the day. And then they'll have their kids and then their kids' friends, or there's a young groups of people in their 20s as well. It's a really interesting mix of people. It's no one age group or demo really. Like everybody goes, from 16 to 60 really. And AC looked kind of the same to me. It was maybe a little bit younger than Hershey actually.
Yep.
John, same thing. That's what you saw.
Exactly the same. So some older people, like you said, like 60 years old. A lot of 40 and 50-year-olds, It
seems to be the same at every show, which is just really cool, Sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You look at yourself and like, I'm old like these people. So it's so crazy how time flies,
Yeah, even me who just turned 38, when I go to these shows, and I always felt like the young GNR fan, considering my first show was 2002, because when Use Your Illusion came out, I wasn't even 10 yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was born in what year? No, 80. Yeah, I wasn't 10 yet. So now I see little kids there. I can fit into their. I don't know how I fit in that kid shirt. Did you see the blue teal shirt that says "I survived Guns N' Roses"? It has like a shark on it.
Yeah.
So that usually you'll see a young child or a woman wear, like my fiance. I can fit into that as well.
Yeah.
But then you also see then I'll feel better. You'll see old school rockers, ones that probably saw like Foghat back in the day, but also like Guns N' Roses. So that's that.
The age differences are interesting to me because you and I are around the same age. So for me, I discovered Appetite, maybe in 90 or 91. I was a kid, but a friend played it for me in his basement. And then like the big GNR memories for me after that is like You Could Be Mine and November Rain were everywhere, when they both came out. So that's how I discovered them.
Yeah.
And the Illusion tapes. But it makes me wonder, if you're 20, like how did you like, was it Guitar Hero? Did you hear Jungle in a movie? Is it just you like classic rock? That is interesting to me, the generational differences, and trying to figure out like, wow, I wonder how you found them. So that's cool to me.
That's been part of the fun about doing this podcast, talk to fans, old and young, and how those who found them through Chinese democracy. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, John, you're in your seat with your Bret Michaels loving girlfriend, and you are ready. It's all right. She's not here. You're ready for It's So Easy. Like, can you guys take us through maybe your highlights, since the set list for the most part? What are your favorite moments?
The first two songs get you into the concert, Mr. Brownstone and all.
Mm-hmm.
And just then he starts to talk a little about, wow, you guys are loud tonight, right, Feeney? He loved it. Axl was in a great mood. He was in a great mood from the beginning. When you're reacting to his music and the whole band, he loves it. I mean, if you're not reacting, he's not gonna be as happy. Obviously, any rock star, So the first two songs always set the mood,
Okay, yeah, absolutely. People complain about I guess they could change it up if you want. I mean, there are other songs that you're not going to complain if they kicked off with Welcome to the Jungle or other, Night Train or something. But kicking off with It's So Easy and Mr. Brownstone is like a nice shot of adrenaline.
They used to kick off with Perfect Crime in '91.
Did you experience that, John?
Yeah, it was great. It was Perfect Crime. Bad Obsession was not too far after that, and Brownstone was right around there with It's So Easy. Yeah, I don't know the exact, but I know Perfect Crime was number one.
I'm going to ask both of you later, and John, considering what you've just told me, because I'm going to ask you to rank this show in your whole scheme of shows. Nothing could beat seeing Perfect Crime as an opener. So I expect that to be, number one or something. We'll see where this show falls for you. But wow, Perfect Crime, to see that I don't know if he could do it now, but I would sure like to see him try.
Yeah. I didn't know that song, obviously, when it came out, when they played it, but I was like, wow, this is a great song. It's one of my favorite songs. I mean, it's only 2 minutes, but it's a really good song. Yeah.
So then what were your highlights? Because at this time, since you had already been at MetLife, and we were at the same show, and that's where they played Absurd for the second time. You were ready for that. Not everybody knows that song, even though it's public. It's out legally now. They put it out officially. How do you feel about Absurd, seeing it live, and what were the reaction from fans around you to that song?
I think I liked it the second time. I wasn't into it at MetLife.
Okay.
But it sounded better, obviously, in this arena. I like the song. His voice is different, obviously, in it. And, when he said, the lyrics are kind of twisted, but, I was seeing my reaction to my girlfriend. I don't think she didn't notice anything.
I'm always wondering about that. And I'll tell you something funny after, but Feeney, like, what do you think about that song, Absurd? What are your feelings about it?
It's funny. Like, I heard Silkworms when they played at Rio, and I've heard it other ways through the years, as most of us probably have. And I always thought people on the message boards, when they were like, "We want to hear Silkworms," I thought they were trolling, because I thought it was not good. It was not. I don't like this at all, but for some reason, the first time I heard it, I actually was listening to the Boston show. Like, someone had a stream, and I had it on in my car, and I heard him talk about it, and he said the word absurd. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be Silkworms. Like, are they crazy? But it's really won me over. Like, I was excited to see it. I listened to it now. And I think really Slash being on there, it just made all the difference for me for some reason. Not that I don't have any problem with Bumble or Fink or Ashper, any of those guys. I like them. But Slash, you can obviously when you hear Slash. I don't know. He really added something to it. And I do. I find myself, I like it now. I really do.
I feel that's something I said was I don't know what Slash did to it, but it went from like silkworms. That's
Mm.
like you say that as a joke song. That's become like the my world of the Chinese era.
Yep.
And when I first heard Absurd and hearing that Slash part, I'm like, whoa, I do like this. Like
Yep.
this is really cool. And the passion that you see Axel has singing that song. And yeah, my girlfriend either likes to say that because now I'm getting her into tattoos, that her next tattoo is gonna be pussy full of maggots. That's her sense of humor. That's why I'm marrying her.
Yeah.
But you can tell even from me, because she knows me just saying it, I just feel, I don't know. I
Dirty.
feel dirty. I feel dirty saying it. But I guess that's the
Axel did say, this is a love sonnet. This is a great love.
I love Sonnet. I love it. He should, yeah, that should be. I hope that's in the. If they were to do a press release, they should have included. Yeah, this is the new Guns N' Roses love sonnet. Absurd. Brilliant. All right, so let's go through more of the highlights. We talked about Absurd. We know, again, the set list. For the most part, what was different? Feeney, let's go to you. What was different this night? The set list, uh, than Hershey Park. I know it was longer because Hershey had the time limit, the city ordinance, and the technical issues. But what were songs that you saw Atlantic City night one that you didn't see Hershey Park, or maybe just like standout songs he thought he performed better? You know what I mean? Pun intended, I guess, maybe.
You Could Be Mine was a million times better. In Hershey, with You Could Be Mine, he actually did like the Vince Neil, like held up the mic for the crowd to sing. And I was like, oh, I've never seen him do that. That stood out to me. But You Could Be Mine, he killed it. The ones that I saw, because I have the set list in front of me, that I didn't see in Hershey was Absurd, obviously. Wichita Lineman, Madagascar, Don't Cry, and The Seeker were all weren't played there, Or maybe Don't Cry was. Don't Cry or Patience, one of them wasn't. I think it was Don't Cry. So it was cool to get those extras. It's like you said, the set list, you know kind of what you're going to get. So it's always fun to get something else sprinkled in there, And man, rewatching the videos, like it was almost all highlights. I don't remember a part in the show at all where I went, ooh, he didn't quite nail that part, or this just doesn't sound the way I wanted to. Like everything was good. Everything was good. I was especially happy to see You're Crazy just because I love that song, the way they played even, which is different than, the unplugged version or even the Appetite version. But I was glad to see them add that when they did. And The Seeker had a lot of energy. I know some people don't, complain about it or whatever. I'm not one of them. I really like it. And so I was like, all right, they're bringing that back. Cool. It's a good little deal to have in the encore, especially for people that don't know what's coming. Oh my God, a Who song? So that was a lot of energy in that too. Double Talk and Jive rocked. Like that's when I realized that I was seeing a special show. Just because he was so into it singing, and the band was phenomenal. Oh, just great. So yeah, it was a lot of highlights, man. I have no iffy moments or anything like that. Like the whole show was pretty good.
What do you feel the same, John? Or
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah. It was great. I mean, I like The Seeker too, but they could always mix in something else from Use Your Illusion, maybe like Pretty Tied Up.
Mm-hmm.
Live and Let Die was even great. He held his screams, like even without the pyro, he held his screams. It was amazing. When I was at MetLife, like you could be on, as Feeney said, he was struggling, but he nailed it. He nailed it. Night one, he was great. I love Welcome to the Jungle. I know that's just like, oh, who doesn't? But that's a great song. Love when they play that. And what else? Rocket Queen. Amazing.
Very cool, man. I mean, I love that everybody says Double Talk and Jive, because that's the one I usually think of. I'm like, man, that song. It just shows the Axel almost at his peak, just for like, because he's not in the entire song, and then just Slash goes off, and just the passion that they both have that go into it is just is great. The Seeker, I've said before, I do like it. It actually made me go back and get the Who's version and put that on my master playlist.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, John, as somebody who's never seen Pretty Tied Up,
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather see that. You know what I mean? I don't.
Back in '91,
Ah, I'm sorry. I think
especially in Rio, I think it was.
Yeah.
1991. I'm wondering the year because my first concert was seeing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at Radio City Music Hall.
Well,
Yeah,
I have the videotape of Rio, and I remember them playing it there.
Well, I've seen videotapes, but I mean, in fact, my first favorite bands in '91. So I was born in '83. I mean, I'm into the Muppet Babies at that time. You know, there's nothing I can really, maybe not the Muppet Babies, but you know what I mean. So I guess never got to experience that. So for songs that I would not like to see The Seeker. I don't want to see The Seeker, but it's fine. But Wichita Lineman is the opposite. It's a cover, but I think their version is phenomenal. So it's just my preference. That's all.
Yeah, that was the only time that I saw like a kind of the crowd. I know there's people specifically in front of me like that did not know what Wichita Lineman was, didn't know what was going on. What is this, but there was of course the people that were enjoying it, singing along, but I did see a lot of heads looking around and people tapping each other. What is this? That was the only time I saw that kind of reaction, but I like it a lot. I tried to experience the show as much as I could, so I wasn't doing much filming or pictures, but I got most of Wichita Lineman because it's a favorite of this version of the band. It's a staple, and I always enjoy when they play it.
I would hope that I've said this before. I'm trying to wish it into existence. It's just I want Wichita Lineman, a recorded version, on an album. I just think they do blow it away, and something maybe you guys noticed as well. And this is what I try to hammer home, not just to the hardcore Guns N' Roses fan, myself included, is that there are still fans that don't know better, that don't know Chinese Democracy, that only know the hits.
Yeah.
And they are there to see the hits. And if they don't, Madagascar, right? Like
I was in the encore.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that song. Maybe I saw that in 2002. I should remember, but I don't.
You might have seen IRS in that one.
Were you at the O2 show also at MSG?
No, I was not.
I had a DVD, so I I remember it from that.
Okay, I forget who I spoke to recently, who was also at that Madison Square Garden show, which was my first show.
That's awesome. I wish I went.
Good for you, because I was there the next night in Philly, which would have been my first show. So congratulations, you got to see MSG. I was always so jealous of people that got, because it was the last show of the tour. I really wanted to see that version of the band at that time, and unfortunately, I didn't get my chance till '06 at Hammerstein, which, all that waiting, it did pay off that night. That was a great show too.
That's great.
And we did that was one of the Riot series that we did. We did the Philly Riot with fans that were also like you, hopeful to see them in Philadelphia, and they got a riot instead.
Yeah.
That version of the band, they're going to play Chinese Democracy songs. That's what they're promoting. But if you're going to see Guns N' Roses now, especially with Slash back, you're going to get the hits. So the fact that you guys saw 2 shows already and you've already gotten different songs, I think speaks volumes, because they still have to appease the people that freak out for Sweet Child of Mine.
Right.
They're freak out for Knocking on Heaven's Door, because
can I add something?
Absolutely.
Slash's solo before Sweet Child of Mine was amazing. It was crazy. And November Rain, I think Axl is very proud of that song. He plays that great. And Estranged was great too. Estranged. Amazing song.
Do you take, or your girlfriend take pictures? Are you a video picture taker?
She takes videos.
Okay.
She takes videos. I don't really do that because I want to pay attention to the show. But she takes the videos, and they're awesome.
Did you watch them later the next day?
On our Facebook page.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's always something interesting too. Yeah, when Sweet Child comes up, everyone's holding up their phones, right?
Yeah.
And people look around like, oh, just enjoy the concert. Kids today, I think there's a variety of reasons they want other people to join in on their experience. I do it, which I don't think I'm going to do anymore, share videos, because since my Twitter got suspended, and sharing my own videos apparently is wrong. But I would only do it for that. So I actually started having my fiance take videos and pictures. And I'm like, I need to soak this in more, and appreciate this. As my cat jumps on, please don't press any buttons. Every time my cat jumps on the mixer, not this time, thankfully, he always hits the one button that mutes the entire thing. So thank you. I just fed you before the podcast. Anyway. So that's very cool. Those are the highlights. What was the encore? Because that was the one thing, Feeney, we were kind of gypped out of at Hershey Park, was the one song encore. I thought that was the first show. It's excusable, whatever. But we got the Seeker, Madagascar, and Paradise City. Was that the
and Don't Cry?
Don't Cry, yeah.
Don't Cry.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to talk about Don't Cry, even though we weren't there. It's in the news, and as Guns N' Roses fans, we're going to discuss Don't Cry on night 2, what Axl spoke about before. But we got to wrap up this part of the review. So, Feeney, where does this rank for you, I guess, as far as all the GNR shows or anything else that part of your experience you didn't get to talk about?
Well, I wanted to say that as we covered, and I said a little bit, that Axl really was on fire, and he came out strong, like right away. And I'm sure we all have experiences with wives or girlfriends where they kind of have to put up with our addiction, right? So we're watching bootleg, we're watching videos the next day, we're doing everything, and so they've heard or seen Axl a million times. So my wife, even though, and actually this show really won her over too, which was great. So now we might go to Baltimore because I'll go again. All right, so I'll go again too, And Axl came out on fire, and it just never stopped, So I was very pleased with the show. It's close, man. My favorite show that I saw was actually Atlantic City in 2012, and they played almost 3.5 hours. They played everything, and I think I told you this story before about Brando. Afterwards, I actually got pulled into the after party, so I was in a room with Axl just one time, but you can't forget that, right? So that kind of adds to it. And so House of Blues 2012 is my number 1, but this is a very, very, very close number 2. It was that good, and I saw them a few times in 2011. I saw them, like I said, a few times in 2017. Other shows sprinkled throughout there, and this is so close to being the best one. It was. I have no complaints whatsoever. It's exceptional.
And did you just look across the room at Axl, kind of like it's always sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah,
it looks at Mac across the room.
Yeah,
I don't know that reference.
No, I got you. I'm sure I looked like a dope. Like I kept joking. My wife kept tapping me, and she'd like put my chin, because I'm just like, But it was cool. It was a small room of people at this place called the Foundation Room, where they had the after party. And I don't even know why we got pulled in. We just did. We were leaving the show, and there was a couple people like, "Hey, come on, after party." Okay, so we snuck our way around to the back because there was security in front. But if you went outside to smoke, there was another door at the end, which would take you back where everybody else was, Ashba and Axl and whatnot. So we snuck our way around and got in there. And I was, to my left was Ashba's room, and to my right, that I heard his voice. I was like, oh shit, I'm waiting to get kicked out at any moment. So we went in and hung out, and we're leaning against the wall, and we were drinking, and he was just sitting like on the top of this couch telling stories. And there was, a few women around him and stuff. And it didn't, 10, 15 minutes, and then he split. But it was still like, whoa, like this is an experience. And of course, friends of mine are like, why didn't you get a picture? Why didn't you take a picture? I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I'm not doing that. Like, there's no way I would want to break up the moment or piss him off or something like that. So, but I'll always have that in my back pocket, that I got to be in the room with him while he's telling stories that one time. But yeah, so that was my favorite show, was House of Blues, but this is a very, very, very close second.
Cool. Same question to you, John. Where does this fall on the pantheon of your personal concerts?
Went to Webster Hall and the Ritz in 2012. That was great. Ashba. 2014 in Vegas with Ashba. That was great. I was right up front. Right, I took a picture of like 5 feet away from Axel. I was standing room only, so I got there like 3 hours early. What else? This show was great. That's a three-way tie right there.
Okay. Man, again, I am certainly not on Guns N' Roses payroll. It's a joke. I mean, I can't interview certain people because management may not like me. So, but I have fans that come on that all give glowing reviews. I mean, this is just this is incredible. You can always say something. This is your review show.
I just think that football stadiums are overrated. That's a little overrated. The sound is different. I just think the inside, events like 5,000, even 10,000, it's much better, in my opinion.
I think most people would share your opinion, but I think you.
The only problem.
Say that again. I'm sorry. It's the Zoom thing that cuts off, and it's just we deal with it.
I said the only problem is the price of the, intimate venue.
Therein lies the issue, right? Like you have more people that want to see you. If you have in a stadium, all these people can see you for a lesser price, even though they're still kind of expensive. Yeah. Or do you go for the better sound and the higher price? So I think if you have a good mix, which I guess Guns N' Roses is doing, they're playing stadiums, they're playing smaller venues. So I think if you have a good mix, maybe you have an option of what kind of experience you want, which is kind of cool. Something I didn't think about before.
Don't get me wrong. Wherever they go, I'm going, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, I am the same way as I started off the episode with that I'm going to be in Baltimore. Feeney, my fiance, said the same thing that your wife did, and she's having a good time. And she's like, let's go to Baltimore. I'm like, really? This is somebody who just spent a week in Seattle to see Dave Matthews 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
So I mean, if she likes Guns N' Roses, but she's not as diehard as we are. Yeah. She's like, yeah, let's go. And I would be remiss, and I'll talk about it more, especially during when we do a Baltimore review. I'm so grateful to everyone who's been a part of this podcast, which includes you, Feeney, and you, John, because sometimes my listeners do amazing things. And Jay, who's in Baltimore, offered me an Airbnb to stay in, just to a couple miles from the arena. So I couldn't say no to that opportunity, being like a free place to stay. The only thing that sucked, and I think I spoke to you guys a little. I think I spoke to you, John, about it a little off the air. You guys, the listeners, you bad apples have heard me talk about it on the air. Some of my concert experiences is like a handicap. I have leg braces. I walk with a cane. So that always dictates what shows I'm going to go to and where I'm going to sit and everything. So that's like when I looked at Atlantic City, the handicap seats were $300. I'm sorry. Maybe if this was my only show I was going to, I just don't make. I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't make that kind of money, man. No. So I looked at Baltimore handicap seats. The ones that were left, $225. So if this was my only GNR show, sure, but not now. $225 if I'm like right up against the stage, not when it's like offside stage. No. So I got something like for $100-something upper deck. As soon as you get out of the elevator, walk through the tunnel, it's like right there. So I don't have to really do much physically. But these are like the things that I have to take into account. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I might have been on the floor with you, Feeney. I mean, if I was able to. Back when I was younger, I could do that. But not so much now. I'm old. And that's why also I like these shows that end on time. I'm old, man. You guys might laugh because I'm the youngest one here technically. Man, I don't know. What time did I go to bed last night? Like 10 o'clock. I'm just, I'm an old man. I'm an old Jewish man already, and I'm only 38. Anyway, so what we need to talk about as three Guns.
That was a strange reference.
Yeah, old at heart, but I'm only 38.
I know. I think I said
young at heart, whatever.
Yeah, same thing, but I'm only instead of I said that at 28. That might have been my aim, my AOL away message at 28. That might have been it. That's how long ago that was. So what we want to talk about, and we've had some people reach out about night 2 of Atlantic City and it just didn't work out. That's fine. It would have been interesting to put all of that, this monstrosity together, as Axel once said, if I had like 4 or 5 people on it. So maybe we'll do a part 2. We'll see. But it's in the news now, so we got to talk about it. 2 things. Before, because I think the set list was almost the same. Before Don't Cry, and then as you mentioned, both of you, Axel's been more chatty. He starts talking about, and if I was in my studio right now in radio, I would at iHeart, I would bring up the sound, but my cat's about to push buttons and I try not to mess with anything technical. I would bring up Axel talking about the song Don't Cry, about him and Izzy when they first, it was like the first song they ever wrote for Guns N' Roses. And he starts talking about, as my fiance's calling, she knows I was talking about Dave Matthews. Hold on. So I'm going to do this I'm going to do this. I'm recording a podcast talking about Dave Matthews, saying that you're willing to go to Baltimore with me.
No, you're not.
I'm doing it right now. You're being recorded. So if you want to come home, great. I love you. I'll see you soon. All right. Bye, Dave Matthews. Bye. That's how I do the show. I just go with it. So before Don't Cry, he started talking about writing it with Izzy, and he was throwing like pebbles up at Izzy's window to talk to him about something, and Izzy thought he was going to fight him. Go watch it on YouTube. I don't want to completely butcher what Axel said. You want to hear it in his voice. But there's 2 interesting things. One, him just mentioning Izzy at all at a show, I think is just wow.
Definitely.
I think that's not a nothing. I think that's not to say that he's going to rejoin or anything. Maybe you guys will differ from opinion. I'll get your opinion. But years past, he would never acknowledge an old member, right? I mean, the fact that he even mentioned him. But what's interesting, before I have to paint the whole picture before, because I didn't pick up on this first time he said it because it's kind of muffled. He's like, so yeah, me and Izzy, I miss that guy. He says he misses him. So that's you know what? I want to know what you guys think. That's a big deal, I think.
Well, in 2006, didn't Izzy play at the Hammerstein a little?
Yeah, the 3rd and 4th show, I think.
Yeah. And
it wasn't that long ago, but we got to think about what's happened since. The reunion that happened, the interview Axel did with Duff, it might have been on Chilean TV or Mexican TV, and he spoke about Izzy. He's like, I'm not sure what he wants to do, and that's when Izzy tweeted right after, it was all about the loot. They want to split the loot equally. I'm paraphrasing. So there have been some negative things that have come out since then. So we don't know what their relationship is now, right?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, John. I think
you go.
One thing was not only did he play in 2006, but he played in 2012 in England with them, I believe. He may have showed up in Vegas in 2014 even. So it was only 2 years in between, where they came back and he wasn't a part of it. I can understand the money thing. I mean, if anything, you think it would just be like, hey, here's Izzy, and they play 14 years and Night Train or something like that, like he used to do. So if he's not playing the whole show, maybe the beef is there where, well, dude, we can't give you a fourth of the thing. You're not technically a member. You're only doing a guest spot, whatever. I could see him doing a guest spot like Adler did, come out and do a couple of songs. And I think that would be great, especially if they got Steven on stage too. People would finally get the original 5 members moment, who knows? They've been, decades long friends. If you read interviews from either guy, they've had their falling outs in the past, and they, managed to mend the fence and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pops on at this point. Maybe that was the olive branch. Axel extending the olive branch to him. So that would be cool. And hopefully, maybe Baltimore. I mean, I like to see it happen in the States, but who knows? It could happen anywhere.
Huh. What do you think, John? What do you think about that?
I think Izzy is like more bitter than Axel, probably, in my opinion. What do you guys think about Richard Fortus? I think he's pretty good.
I love Fortus.
As a player, I hope so. I tweeted this the other day, and this is how I feel about Richard. I think he's very cool. but he's been in the band for so long, and he doesn't have any credit on Chinese Democracy other than playing on it. If when there's a new album, I really hope he's on it. That's how I don't want him to be looked at as, because he's still, you see on his Instagram or whatever, he's trolls being like, "Where's Izzy?" And it just, I want him to start really. If you've seen GNR live, he's already solidified his place in the band's history. But I would really like to see him given a song credit or to be more involved creatively, because he is a great player. I think he's great with the fans. He's a great follow on social media. It was, a pleasure to talk to him about, to talk to him on the podcast. But yeah, that's how I feel. That's the only thing preventing me from being like, oh, Richard, I want to see what he can do in the studio. That's what I want with GNR.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens. But that's interesting what you said, Feeney, about maybe it was a public olive branch. Maybe it was, maybe it's nothing. But I just find that very odd. And the one thing I can't really, I don't know, I'll dance around it. I'll think, as I usually do, I will think out loud on a podcast, which you probably shouldn't do. My interview with Matt Sorum, still TBD. I did read his book, the PDF version of his book I was sent. I know there was a version that was leaked. I did not read that. The reason I bring that up is because there's stuff in there regarding Izzy and some current members that may be, a dividing thing. I don't want to, I know I'm being vague. It's Matt's book is not out yet. I'm not going to break any stories. If you read the leaked story, maybe you know what I'm talking about. But there's some current members that may have had issues with Izzy, and so I just don't know. I just don't know. Okay. I really don't. There's nothing else I can add to it. I didn't hear anything from Alan Niven this time around that Izzy was at a sound check or anything. Nothing like that. I just I hope it happens. To get that Five classic moment, even if it's not. And that's also what I think about Richard. I want him. He deserved to be part of the band. Let's just say Izzy wanted to come back. I would like to see him kind of come back. How Pat Smear came back with the Foo Fighters, how he kind of just came on as an extra guitarist when I think I'm forgetting who he initially replaced. There was somebody that might have been maybe Shiflin initially replaced Pat Smear. And then when Pat came back, he's like, fuck, I'm out of the band now. And Dave Grohl's like, no, more the merrier. So I'm just hoping, I don't know, maybe we'll see a lineup with Izzy, Fortis, Buckethead, DJ Ashford. There's like 6 guitar players on stage.
Just like 2012, 14. It was like that. They had a lot of guitars on stage.
Yeah. But the guest spot, you'd hope that something could happen there. Because while they're all still alive, you know what I mean? The Axl and Slash one, that was the one. That was the hurdle. We got past that. Why can't we get some more Steven and some Izzy? Let's get there. So I certainly
if you think about it, sorry, just real quick, like
go ahead.
Izzy coming back and doing a guest spot a couple of times or whatever. I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility, only because, obviously Axl and Slash was the big one, like you said, but Adler coming out and doing some songs, because he's been not very complimentary of Axl in the press a few times and whatever. And, they had the lawsuit. From what I've read, of course, Axl was pretty pissed about the way that lawsuit turned out and all that. And, you would have thought Adler would have been one of the guys that you weren't going to see come back, but he did. So, and Izzy is such a big part of the band's history, and him and Axl have such a long friendship and stuff. You'd have to imagine it could happen. I mean, I sure wouldn't put a timetable on it, but being the fact that he's been on stage with Axl again throughout the years, I think it's a possibility.
I agree with that. If you could go back a few years and you would ask me, better chance of a guest appearance. I don't know if I gave an answer at the time. I don't remember, but Adler or Izzy, I would have said Adler because of everything that you just said. And a shout out to Steven Adler. He's going out. His band is killing it. They're also getting great reviews. It's very cool that Todd Kearns from Slash's band has been helping out with them. He's been filling in for Tanya O'Callahan. So it's just awesome to see Steven is he's proven himself. We'll see what happens in the future in the GNR world, but he's out there. He looks great. I mean, he's got a great band around him. So just kudos to him, man. Like that could have been real sad ending, but he's it's not at all.
Frankie Ferrer is pretty good. He's good.
I like Frank. I don't know what the hate that he gets.
People complain about him.
Yeah.
I don't get either. I mean,
I like Frank. I liked. I don't have anyone like people didn't like certain members. Ashba got a little bit of heat and stuff like that. But I liked that. Like I said, that 2012 show is my number one on the show. I liked Bumble. I liked Ashba. I still really. I think Richard is fantastic, and then Frank. Frank's good. I like Frank. So.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. I think Axel has done a good job with the personnel around him, despite everything. Really, people, you're gonna hear, especially from Doug's future book, about what kind of person Axel is, and he, I think he wants to hire like just good people, and that's what I think about. Richard's a good person, Frank's a good person. As far as players, as a non-player, they impress the hell out of me. I don't hear what everybody else hears. Oh, the song doesn't sound like this. I'm sorry. I just don't have those kind of ears. I just, is Slash doing the Slash thing? Is Axel singing like Axel? I'm sorry. I'm a very generic fan like that.
You Could Be Mine as a drama song, and he was pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So as long as you get that down, it's all good. Anything else that? Oh, so John, I want to ask both of you guys any other highlights? I guess anything. I don't want to make sure I left anything out on the table. Anything from night one, Atlantic City? Any reason maybe you didn't go to night two? Too expensive, or it was just the one night? Like that's just the plan.
One day was too expensive.
Yeah.
And the next day I had to work, so Sunday I couldn't do it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I thought about it, and actually I had my room there through Monday just because it was kind of on the table. I didn't buy the tickets in advance, obviously, like I did for Saturday. It was kind of up in the air whether my wife would go to a second show, whether, hey, maybe you can hang in the room and relax, and I'll go to the show, or maybe I'll take you home and come back, blah, blah, blah. I think the first show was actually so good that it was like, I don't have to go again. That was almost it, And, of course, the price and everything. I did watch StubHub a little bit, but it was never really – I was never close, I kind of kept an eye in case. But that sounds like an odd thing to say. But, yeah, Saturday was so good that it was like, all right, I'm satiated or whatever. So I didn't necessarily need to go Sunday.
I gotcha.
So, yeah.
Also, one other thing. Not that I'm surprised, but I thought that having gigs back to back, that was kind of, I know why they did it, but it's kind of hard to play 2 nights in a row, especially, Axel with his voice. I was kind of worried about that.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that because they don't ever do that nowadays.
Right.
Nobody. Really. So, I mean, I heard no complaints about last night that he, it sounded like he blew out his voice. So I don't know. Maybe it is like an athlete. Once you got to have your spring training. I guess you got to get through the early, especially baseball, the early months of it all to kind of get the rust off. And some days you can play a doubleheader. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can't. You need to go in the DL or something like that. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I won't keep you guys here too much longer, as it looks like Brett Michaels' other girlfriend is bothering you.
Come here, Donnie. Brett Michael fan.
I want to know what she thought of the Guns N' Roses show, if she's okay with it. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to ask both of you what your favorite piece of Guns N' Roses memorabilia is. That's something I ask of everybody.
She wants to know.
I got a Guns N' Roses wallet for Christmas one year, and it was the Chinese Democracy grenade. How are you was on the inside and stuff. I don't know where the person found it or whatever, but I was like, wow, I'm like, man, you had to put some work in to find this. What is this? So that was a fun one.
You still have it?
No, I lost it, unfortunately. But yeah, that was great. That's it, really. I have a ton of shirts, like I'm sure we all do, and You know, some are more favorite than others, but that wallet was a cool deal.
Oh man, I'm sorry you lost it.
Yeah, really.
I think I told the story. I got a Guns N' Roses chain wallet back in the Hot Topic days.
Yeah.
So I'm not real. I'm making fun of myself when I say the Hot Topic,
Yeah.
but it was like a metal logo of the Guns, or the Guns N' Roses Guns logo, but it was protruding.
Mm-hmm.
So if I kept it in my back pocket, it just would shred my pocket all the time. So I have so many just jeans that I had to cut off whatever. It's stupid. John, other than your girlfriend, what's your favorite piece of memorabilia?
I have a signed ticket from a Bumblefoot from Vegas. So
nice.
Like I saw him like 5 hours before the show. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's very speaks well. He's very quiet. And there wasn't really many people around him, but I noticed him. Like, hey, he signed my ticket.
I did the same thing to him when I saw him in Ottawa. He came out in the Russian. He was wearing the Russian winter coat and winter hat. That was his shtick at the time in the early days, if you remember that, the winter garb. And he just started talking to a security guard. He came out. I was standing side stage, and he was just talking to a security guard dressed like that. And I was the only one who recognized him because he was the new member. And he signed my ticket and took my picture. Took our picture. But where did you meet him exactly before the show?
He was right on the floor with all, the casino.
Oh, okay.
Casino floor of Hard Rock Hotel.
Okay, nice. Well, coolio. And she doesn't have to make an appearance if she doesn't want to. I just want to maybe get some estrogen in the show if she wants. It's there. It's fine. You're looking.
They want you to talk. Just
tell her to yell Guns N' Roses. Just tell her to yell it.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell her to go
Guns N' Roses.
Woo! There you go. That's all I wanted. See, this is what this show is. We have cats walking on the mixer. I got my fiance going, interrupting me. That's okay, because I want to give her. All right, so we're gonna get our fourth reviewer, or our third reviewer.
Part of the show.
What was my favorite part of the show? I have to say when he did his little tribute for 9/11, knocking on heaven's door.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. What's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Donnie.
Donnie?
Yeah. Like Donnie and Marie. Donnie
Baseball.
Donnie,
I love it. I'm thinking
Donnie,
Donatello? Donna from the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, Donatello. There you go. Ninja Turtle, yeah.
Donnie, thank you for bringing that up. See, guys, come on. What kind of Americans are you? How do you not bring that up?
I'm glad she came on because actually it didn't slip my mind, but because I actually rewatched it. There's a really good YouTube video of it if you haven't seen it, and Brando. But yeah, that was unexpected and was really awesome. And then USA chants were breaking out, So
yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that because obviously the date of the show was 9/11, and they didn't have to. So I mean, thank you. So you had a very good cameo, Donnie. So
okay.
And, what's your favorite?
Not so.
I told you love Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Poison song?
Bret Michaels and Stevie Nicks are my favorites.
Nice. Okay. What's your favorite Poison song?
Fallen Angel.
I like that. Good answer. Is that what is that what John calls you? Is that his nickname for you?
He tells me, look what the cat dragged in.
I do.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Donnie, for coming on and being a part of this. Guns. I don't know did he tell you about this? He's doing a Guns N' Roses podcast tonight. What he's doing? Do you think it's weird that he's doing a Guns N' Roses podcast? Do you think he's a weirdo? Like,
I would think he was a weirdo before the podcast anyway. So
that's the right answer.
I told her the night of the concert, and she said, "No, you're not. No, you're not."
Yeah, I do fan reviews. I get to interview some cool rock stars, but I also get to interview some cool fans. So that's what we're doing a review of Atlantic City Night 1. So if you want, you could tell Donnie all your friends later. You can watch John and the Johnny Donnie show once this is all posted.
Okay.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, thank you guys for your time. Thank you, Donnie, as well. Feeny, do you have anything since we got to get Raven? Is he a Guns N' Roses fan? We got to get him on the podcast.
I think
Disco Inferno? Is he a Guns N' Roses fan? Disco Inferno? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I think both. I don't know. They're not as hardcore as we are, of course, but both guys, yeah, both guys are Guns N' Roses fans.
I'm using that as a poor segue into. Do you have anything that you would like to promote since you kind of have a public gig?
Yeah, the Raven Effect is out every Monday, and then I do Keeping It 100 with Conan and Disco. That's out every Thursday or Friday, and those are my two main things. The podcast network that I run, the Creative Control Network, you can check out at the CC Network 1 on Twitter, and that'll show you all the shows that I put out.
Very cool. And John is your friendly local neighborhood mailman.
That's right.
And you are through rain, through sleet, through COVID, through all of that.
That's right. That's all right.
You work your ass off, man, so we can do what we do.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we can go to concerts.
Not delivering as many tickets though nowadays, right?
It's on the phone, which I don't like. I do not like that.
Although I don't have it here. I speak of because I have to go next Tuesday. I'm seeing Dave Matthews next Tuesday at Jones Beach.
Nice.
She got the hard copy. It's all right. Well, you guys can be friends. Donnie and my fiance is obsessed. Like where I am with Guns N' Roses, she loves Dave Matthews.
And I was just gonna say something else. Are you like a big music person, or just Guns N' Roses?
I love all kinds of music, but Guns N' Roses is obviously the theme of this podcast. So I got to keep the focus here.
One of my favorite bands, I guess my favorite country band is Zac Brown Band, but they do covers of like everything. Metallica, Fleetwood Mac, Nirvana, not Guns N' Roses, but
they did Paradise City, right?
Oh yeah, they did. No, they do Paradise City. I'm sorry, not this last concert, but they've done it in the past. Paradise City. They are amazing. They are amazing.
I think I've reached out to them before to interview. That's something I always do. It doesn't have to be Guns N' Roses. I mean, that's the nucleus of the show, if you want to get crazy with terms. But I've interviewed, he's from Toronto, Corey Marks, who's a country artist. So I would like to, get on different people from different genres. Like I have had wrestlers on, just to talk about GNR. So I don't know if you want to write some fan mail to Zac Brown.
Yeah, Charles Flair and McIntyre.
Oh, really? Oh, I love McIntyre.
Yeah, he's a great dude. So I'll tell you what, Donnie, if you want to write some fan mail to the Zac Brown and he agrees to come on the podcast, you are more than welcome to co-host the episode.
Okay. Like I said, that band is one of my favorite bands. They're just great. They could play anything. Yeah.
Very, very talented. Absolutely. And Dave Matthews is talented. It's just not
Dave Matthews. I love Dave Matthews.
It's not like GB, I fed you already. Stop it. I'm waiting for him to
music. I like everything. So
she likes GNR. I'm sorry, you asking if she likes everything or if I like everything?
No, I like everything. I have a very range of music that I like.
Well, that's good. That means you're very open. You have an open mind and an open heart. So that means you're a good person.
I try.
Say bye.
Bye.
So, but she got the hard tickets of Dave Matthews. She wanted to order them. So I think they might be on the refrigerator now. Other than that was my long-winded point that she actually ordered the physical tickets for Dave Matthews, which I'm like, those are what those look like? I haven't seen them in years. So, John Feeney, sorry, I had to do that once. We talked about it before.
I knew it.
the Feeney call. I watched Boy Meets World, Topanga, my first crush. We won't go. That's a whole other. It's Topanga. She's a Danielle Fishel. She's like a metal fan. We got to get her on the podcast. All right. Sorry, I'm going off. I'm going crazy now.
Did you? You mentioned at the beginning, but I don't know if we're gonna get to it or whatever. Did you want to talk about Hard Skool and that news or whatever?
Remember? Thank you. See, I need a producer, man.
Professional.
You need my producer. So what happened was there was a fan that met. This is posted on a few fan sites already. So there's a fan that met Axl, has a picture together, and let me see. Let me bring it up. Let me actually bring this up right now, so I get it precise. And it's just so funny that Blabbermouth picked this up actually. So this says, fan met Axl Rose after the second Guns N' Roses show in Atlantic City. She was invited backstage and they had a beer together. They also said she asked him about Hard Skool. and he played the song for her, and that they are releasing it soon. Her name is Maria Suarez, and if she's a very attractive young woman, then you can see why Axel wanted to hang out with her. But the fact that, that just proves Hard Skool is coming out. It would be a very weird lie, and now Blabbermouth picked it up as a story, which I find very odd. So saying that Guns N' Roses are going to release another new song soon, because I've been getting a lot of messages about, do you think they're really going to release Hard Skool? My response is, why are they sound checking it? I don't think that would make any sense at all, unless it's some really sick kind of trolling job. But I just can't. That's next level, conspiracy theory. So it's got to happen. Right, guys? We're going to hear Hard Skool live one of these days. You both believe that?
I do. I was just going through the tour schedule, and it's like, well, you'd think they'd want to release it before they leave the States. Maybe not. Let's see. There was 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 shows left in America, and then they go to Mexico, and then they go for that Australia tour. So I'm trying to get my head into the business side of it. Like, when would be a good time, or is there a special building? Maybe they want to debut it in Florida because it's a smaller venue. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think it'll happen. And the reason I think I'm hopeful now and other people are is because out of nowhere you woke up and you had Absurd. Like, whoa, what happened? They released a song. So yeah. I think it'll be something like that where they'll play it live and Axl will go, hey, check your Amazon Music or iTunes, because at midnight you can get this. I think it's just going to be the same thing again. And then hopefully, those 2 songs, it's leading us in the direction of, oh my God, could there be an album? And with their history of releasing in November, you never know. I would hope so.
Johnny, you believe in Hard Skool? Do you believe it's going to happen?
Is there any leaks about this song?
Yeah.
I never heard the song.
So yeah, there have been leaks of it. Yeah, that I've heard. Okay. So it exists.
You think it's better than Absurd?
Yeah, I say that, and I say that quickly, probably too quickly, because it's a more Guns N' Roses song.
Yeah, very much. So.
Absurd is something that if you like Chinese Democracy, which I do, you are prepared for it. Because you're aware of Silkworms, you're prepared for it. But if you just know Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, all their hits, and you hear Absurd, you're like, it is so out of left field, it is crazy. But with Hard Skool, it's more of just a rock song, traditional Guns N' Roses. And now I brought up the actual quote of what this person said, and it's interesting because of this GNR world, what gets taken down, what's rumor, what's not, because you're seeing some fan sites already take it down. So maybe she shouldn't have said anything. But it said, last night I finally met Axl. He treated me backstage and we had a beer. Reminded me of other shows. I remember he said that he saw her at other shows. Because what I'm doing is I follow a lot of Spanish speaking Facebook pages because they are the best with information. And sometimes the translation isn't the best. So I'm reading a translation, so forgive me. That she said, I asked him about Hard Skool and he played it for me, and that they should be releasing it soon. And dreams do come true. And there's a few pictures with her, with Axl in a leopard print of robe. Even his robes, man. So yeah, man, that's what before this, I was telling people it will happen. I just can't imagine there are people, again, in this world of deep fakes and technology, you see people recording sound checks from outside of arenas where you hear this new song called Hard Skool. Come on. Is it going to be like a deep fake? Like they staged the moon landing? Like, is that what's happening here? Are they staging sound checks? Like, are we going to go down that well?
I think you could trust this more than the Chinese Democracy album coming out,
So
That's
yeah,
what's funny is they sound checked it in Mexico with Axl singing last year, but the problem was it was the last show before COVID wiped everything out. So maybe there was a different plan for something that happened last year, but it didn't. Obviously. So Yeah, it's like you say, Brando. They've sound checked it. It's been on set lists. There's no reason for that to happen unless it's going to be something, you know.
Which just makes it exciting, guys. Which is, maybe we'll see it in Baltimore before then, after then, but things are different. This is a band that's kind of they may not do things the normal way, but what is normal? That's kind of why we've been following them for so long. So, John, this was a pleasure. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for introducing us to Donnie as well. That was fun.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
Right on. Any GNR fans you want to say hi to? Also, any?
No, because this is the only time I talk about GNR. So
I get that a lot too. So I'm happy to be kind of your vessel to talk GNR. And Feeney, Joe, just thanks again. I know we have been talking about doing an episode together, so I'm glad we can finally make it happen. And I'm sure we'll do this again at some point with all the things that you've done and have going on.
Absolutely. And the one thing I did want to say is I'm glad that we did this one. I think I checked in with you maybe about doing Hershey, and I'm glad I didn't because I was really dismayed. I might have been all negative and stuff. So I'm glad that I got to come on here and be really, really positive about the show,
Cool. Right on. So we'll see if we do a part 2, Atlantic City. But again, it was basically almost the same set list, but minus just that Izzy conversation, which we'll see what comes out of it. It was still very cool to hear, even if nothing comes out of it. The fact that it's okay for Izzy to be acknowledged and hear Axl say, I miss that guy, and seeing how happy he is. You see that video of Axl. I don't know if he's swinging around Beta's grandkids. He's just like Grandpa Axl now. I don't want to make him too old yet, but he's just a different dude. I don't know if he's... Go ahead, buddy.
Put in Street of Dreams. Just try to fit that in there. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, and it's so like Illusions-esque too. Like it would really fit,
Yeah.
I can see that they have a lot of they put another thing that's we hope is not a GNR troll, but they put up the set list on their social media the other day. And what would you add? They asked, what would you add? So yeah, Street of Dreams, 100%. I would love to, and to see Slash play that. Wow.
He did that a lot in 2002. Street of Dreams. I mean, I saw it on YouTube. I know you were there. I know. I never went there in 2002, but I see it on YouTube. I wish I was there.
Well, I wish I saw Perfect Crime. So we all come together to share our joint experiences to fulfill the emptiness in us. That sounded weird. Anyway, so thanks, guys. We'll see what the next review is going to be. I've got me aside. I've got requests for Baltimore, submissions rather, for Baltimore, for Minnesota. So any review you want to give, just hit me up on social media, Twitter at the AFD Podcast, Facebook, just like these guys at the AFD, Facebook.com/the AFD Show. Just type in Appetite for Distortion and just find us. We're everywhere. YouTube, email, just find us. I'm very responsive. I'm desperate for attention. That's all I can do. So when's the next time you're going to see and hear the next episode of Appetite for Distortion? Well, in the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, you'll see it. I don't know if soon is the word.